Hello and welcome back here in the Brickworld studio, and welcome to a new episode of a brand new ongoing project. And as you can see here, the main theme of that new project is going to be cyberpunk. You can see a lot of printed parts I did a long time ago. You can, by the way, find them in my online shop. But I did these a long time ago, and I really had that idea of a cyberpunk, concept a long time in my head, and I want to do another concept for that. I have these 16x16 plates kind of structure. They're usually used for these pictures from Lego, and I want to build up on these little parts because they're very perfect for the mill structure, but also I have a very limited space where I can build up a little part of that cyberpunk story, cyberpunk world in one episode without doing a lot of big structures that are going to take forever. So we have a good goal and a good step-by-step way for every video. So today we're starting here with the first 16x16 plate, and I want to build up a little kind of back alley with some minifigures, of course with light, and I really want to find out what this basic structure, that basic look of my cyberpunk world should be. So I'm just looking around if anything fits, so stay tuned for today's update. First of all, I thought about the basic structure of these projects. So I had the idea and the decision to not do anything on the same level. We have to have some little different kind of layers, different kind of levels. That thing is very important, even if you have only 16x16 studs to work on. So I decided to do a little kind of alley here on the left side with dark bluish gray, and then we have these little steps going up to a kind of building or stuff like that. And I think it's very important to have a lot of details in a cyberpunk world, even on the floor. It should be a very nice structured even floor. And I think I got a good combination of different kinds of elements, plates, bricks, stuff like that, to have a good looking structure on every surface. And I think it's a good base. Now we're going to build up these steps here, have a kind of platform on top of it, and then we can start working with a kind of little building. And a very important part is also to include light, of course. They are going to use the light of Light My Bricks. That's my partner here with everything I'm going to light up in the city on other projects. That's also something I'm going to use here in the cyberpunk world, of course. But for today, that's the basic structure. Now it's time to think about how the basic building should look like. And that's a very interesting part of the work. After testing out a lot of different stuff, I just got the way to that design. You can see two of my printed parts here. You can find them, as I said before, in my online shop and a lot of other stuff. And I think tubes and cables and stuff like that are very important to have that cyberpunk look, especially in these lower areas, these more poverty areas here. I want to build up in that direction because that's not a main street. We are working right now on that 16x16 plate. That's just a kind of back alley or stuff like that. So I really want to have a more, a rotten look, more a poverty look. So everything is a little bit not so nice like the people in the upper classes. So we are here on the lower end of the society. And that's something I really want to have a look of that in that little kind of diorama. Also, already I'm thinking about how I can expand that stuff. So we are going to add sometime in the future with the next episode here of my cyberpunk world, the next 16x16 plate. There should be a kind of building maybe on the other side and stuff like that. So just keeping that in mind, I'm just having some ideas where you can connect on with different builds in the next updates. But coming back to today's first update, I think the combination of these three colors, mainly we have these black, we have that dark bluish gray, we have the light bluish gray, we have some little details, the cables and stuff like that are very important to have that typical cyberpunk look. And of course, adding light in a minute or so is another very important step, because these neon lights are a very important part of that cliche of a cyberpunk world, and that's something I also want to include, of course, here in my city. But for now, we just build a little bit more of the missing parts here, and then we're going to add light. I'm almost done with the building of the first little model. As you can see, I added some more details coming up on the top. I added some tiles because there's going to be, of course, another part of the building on top of it, but I think for today's update, it's high enough. I added some little clutter here, and also can see that the cables are running out here. As I said before, I'm using the system from Light My Bricks and just keep the electricity on. We can see I have 3 different lights. We have that little green light on top of here. We have that bluish light here over that entrance area. And we have a little red light with a flickering effect inside that little kind of tunnel here, which is going to a shop or stuff like that in a future update. And I think we have the basic cyberpunk look really in that little space. It will be better when we are going to add more and more little parts here, but I really like the idea of keeping it by 16 by 16 modules and building up. So we have a little step-by-step goal in every update, not building the massive big buildings, which takes months to get to the end. So we have these little kind of goals every time. So next time maybe we are going to build here or build on the backside. I'm not sure right now, but I think it's a very good idea to keep on track and get little goals after every update. Of course, we're going to expand the buildings to the top because high buildings also is a very important part of that cliche of that cyberpunk world, of course. But for today, we just need to add 2 new minifigures, the first 2 minifigures here in the cyberpunk world, to have a little bit of storytelling. So coming to an end, I decided to add 2 new minifigures and that little robo-dog here. It's from one of the minifigure series, I think from the space minifigure series. And I have that guy here with some implants, some mutation stuff. I think it's a very nice combination of different parts. We have these pizza printed parts. It's an official printed part from one of the newer minifigure series. And we have that kind of Robocop here. He's just walking here. I have some special legs used. These are from a kind of alien figure from another minifigure series. And I think it looks quite nice. We have that guy standing up here with that robo-dog. We have that police robot coming here. And we have a little bit of light. We have a little bit of structure. And I think that's a good basic structure for that ongoing project, because building up a kind of cyberpunk world was something I had in my mind for a long time. Having other projects, but I think some diversity is always a good idea. And I really like that idea I had with these 16 by 16 modules. So if you want to see more of my upcoming cyberpunk world or other projects here on the Brick World Studio, subscribe. And of course, you can write whatever you have in your mind in the comment area. And if you want to have some of my printed parts, you have a look at my shop. You can find the link in the video description, also on the pinned comment. So that's it for today on that new project here, Cyberpunk World. Any ideas, just write in the comments. I'm really looking forward to build up that project here. I really like the combination of these lots of details, minifigures, special minifigures, lights, stuff like that, and endless possibilities. So stay tuned for future updates.